enjoyment and excitement year after year. And the race that we're about to see to start our Saturday for four-wheeled action, we've already had a motorcycle Grand Prix here won by Davey Todd just a few minutes ago, but we're about to get into the car racing today, and it's racing all the way. This, the only race this weekend for one of our local races for the Macau Roadsport Challenge, and this really is one of the heartbeats of the Macau Grand Prix. Every year it never fails to entertain, and you know what, that might just be seeing the drivers' faces when they get onto the podium. The joy that success at Macau brings for these local drivers from the Greater Bay Area here with Macau, Hong Kong, Chinese Taipei and China all represented competing in road sports. The joy is something that if you could bottle, you would be a very, very wealthy person, because this is just motorsport joy here at Macau. A very good morning also in the commentary box to David Addison. It's the colours, it's the enthusiasm, it's everything that is the Macau Road Sports here, David.
And they deserve the sunshine after having to cope with the wet weather of last year. The Road Sport Challenge is a non-championship race, although there is a championship that was done and dusted in mid-May for these cars. Such is the popularity of the Road Sport Challenge, it's split into two groups these days, and then the top scorers from the two groups get together for this, I hesitate to call it end-of-term bash, but you know what I mean, this non-championship race with all the glory of racing on the gear circuit. We are in for a really good race, that is for sure. It is going to be over 9 laps, all being well. And when you talk about the local races at Macau, it's perhaps, if you've not been here, tempting to wrinkle your nose and look down on them a little bit and think that these are all amateur drivers, amateur teams. Well, some are AMs, some are very experienced. But the level of presentation and preparation of these cars, and the cars are either Toyota GR86s or Subaru BRZs, is absolutely outstanding. And more than anything, if you want colour, this is the grid.
It certainly is, and the amount of thought that goes into the liveries, advertising. There's a great example. It's Lu Longyin in the number 6 car, and the thought that goes into the colour schemes, the way you display the sponsors, because this is a huge international opportunity to get sponsors' names around the world, and they are well aware of it and how important it can be. And we're looking there at Ivan Cito in the 57 car. You mentioned, David, that some of these drivers are regulars here with a huge amount of experience of the gear circuit. Bear in mind that if these drivers have been doing this for a number of years, you can only race on the gear circuit at Macau for 4 days every year. A lot of these drivers have done more races than a lot of the professional drivers that we'll see, because they have been here year after year. As we go down the grid, you can see they're always very keen to say hi to the public around the world that are watching. A big smile, a thumbs up, and a huge amount of anticipation ahead of our first car race of the year.
Carlson Tang, a man to watch. He was one of the front runners in the races last year, always quick, and one to watch with a bit of work to do. Bayern Yip starting there on the 13th rank on the grid. He was 3rd in Group B in the championship, having taken 1 win. All the races taking place on the Guangdong circuit, and there you've got Li Kwok Chun, number 79, and he will line up 14th. It's a 1-by-1 staggered grid for the road sports, and number 72 is Leung Kang Hei in the Spark Racing Subaru. Drivers now getting themselves ready to go. It doesn't matter where they are on the grid, they're all pumped up, ready to go, all full of smiles. And what we really want here is a good race without any dramas, any safety car periods, because it's been a frustrating weekend for a number of the competitors. We had one session earlier on in the weekend where only 8 drivers got a time in the half-hour practice period, not necessarily road sports, but with incidents and the length of the lap and the recovery of cars, it all rather delayed matters. There's another regular at Macau, Geronimo Badaraco, ready to go forward, as he's suggesting, with his Senna-esque helmet. Another inveterate enthusiast.
He was second last year, good year last year, and Geronimo Badaracco, one of the, if you like, local poster boys for this event, and you can see the joy and the anticipation. One of the interesting things as well is that we've seen as we go down the grid, as we're looking at the number 39 car of lap 2, you can see quite a few of the drivers getting into the cars at the very last minute. The reason being, we are now, this year, and particularly today, back to the normal weather that we would expect in Macau. You can see it's a beautiful sunny day. There was a bit of clouds earlier on this morning. Yesterday morning we had a slightly wet surface this time yesterday because there was overnight rain, but not so today. It's very, very hot out there. You only need to be in the sunshine for a couple of minutes and realise, hang on, my skin wasn't that colour a couple of minutes ago. So they are making sure that they can stay out of the car under an umbrella for as long as they possibly can, because it's very, very warm out there. And bear in mind that they're about to do 9 laps around the gear circuit here at Macau, shut into the car. It's going to be quite warm work, this.
Very definitely it is. There is Lopat Soy in the Speed Premier Toyota, and Lopat Soy starts 23rd on the grid. The grid itself is 32 cars, so it's going to be very, very busy indeed. The grid is now being cleared of VIPs, of the Trophy Queens, of Pandas, which are occupying the front of the grid, because it is rare that you come to Macau and find a race that doesn't have some sort of mascot on the grid. This is really the reason Alan comes. He's got a panda fetish, you know? But it is all part of the appeal and the colour. Rui Valent there starts a long way back, 25th on the grid. Now, he had an accident early on in the weekend that really did put him back. But here's a guy that we've had winning races here in the past.
It certainly is. Finished 7th last year, qualified 7th and finished 7th in the Roadsport race, and one of the regular names that we have coming back year after year to Macau. That's the number 38 car as we continue to go down the grid with our camera crew. That's Yu Long. In the Toyota. We didn't mention actually 2 types of car competing in road sports for the last couple of years. They are Toyotas in the form of a GR86, and they are Subarus in the guise of a VRZ. And that's the number 9 car with a wave, a Macau driver, and that's Leung Chi Ho in his Subaru car number 9. And what a big grid it is. When I typed out the entry list, it takes up 2 sides of A4, and that's pretty significant. That's quite a low-key livery, isn't it? A black and white livery. How rare.
Number 42. That's another catch on. The grid stretching all the way back, as you see, round the R bend. So at the very back, number 41, the red and white car, Vincent Yip. And at the very front is Damon Chan. In terms of the drivers to watch, well, it's anybody really within the top 6 on the grid, because they have been the best in the championships and the most successful in terms of race wins. Just to finish off the grid, Chong Poi Lam there with his Subaru. He will start 29th, 30th in number 1. You can see as the camera crew scuttles across to the car, that is Ao Chi Wang. And see that they've run there. We'll have a look at the car. Lots of red sticky tape, which is an illustration that he had a rather bruising free practice session early on in the weekend. The grid's completed by Wang Shangyuan and then Vincent Yip. Damon Chan on pole position then, 5th in his group in the championship and a race winner. 2nd on the grid, Adrian Chern. Guess what? 5th in his group in the championship and a race winner. Then you've got next on the grid, Wong Chut Pan, and he's been a race winner, 2nd in his group in the championship. On the 4th rank of the grid is the Group B champion, Chan Kin Sang, and he's had 2 wins. Then you've got Chan Ka Ping, who was 3rd in his group. 6th on the grid, Lo Pak Yu, the Group A champion, and he also has had 2 race wins. The groups are, because there are so many cars within the championship, they are put into these 2 groups, and each group gets a double header at each event, and we are taking the top 6 scorers from the groups into this invitation race this weekend. So some scores to settle, some reputations on the line, and a shootout between our 2 champions, Lo Pak Yu and Chan Kin Sang, to see who's the best.
And at the end of 9 laps, the utter joy for the top 3 drivers. We get the top 3 in the race making their way through the paddock and over towards the podium presentation, which is a moment of great pride and honour and joy as well. We'll see it all unfold here at Macau over the next 9 laps. Confirmation of the starting grid. Pole position for Damon Chan, car number 91, alongside the number 11 car of Adrian Chung. Second row of the grid is the number 44 car is next, and that's the car of Wong Chok Pan alongside Chiang Kin Sang on the second row of the grid. Chan Kar Ping on the third row of the grid alongside Lo Pak Yu, and on the fourth row of the grid Liu Churk In alongside number 6, that's Lu Long Yin. Right,
one car with
a problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, looking
Ivan
down onto
Sito.
the grid, is Ivan Sito's car, yes, and that's going to have to be pushed off the circuit. So from 9th, the car presumably will not start, and there it's going to remain. There's no suggestion that it's going to be pushed into the pit lane. So that looks like Ivan Sito's race is done at the 1 minute board, effectively. So the grid now being cleared of the officials. They will get, of course, a formation lap to put some warmth into the Pirelli rubber, but that is heartbreaking for Ivan Sito. His big moment to race on the gear circuit, and with a problem on the grid. Now, unless they can fire the car up out of harm's way and he can join in at the back, we'll keep an eye on that, but otherwise it rather looks like he's going to be a non-starter. Green flag wave then, not for the start of the race, but the last formation lap, a chance to get some warmth into the tyres, and these, the warmest and sunniest conditions in which they've driven all weekend.
Yes, really warm. In fact, we have air conditioning in the commentary box, and still it's quite warm in here, so it gives you an idea. We are just above at the back of one of the grandstands, which is absolutely packed first thing in the morning, and that's the story of the grandstands right the way around the gear circuit, 6-kilometre circuit here at Macau. Yesterday there were a number of grandstands that were packed with school children, very, very happy school children. It's all part of the event, the 4-day events here at Macau. School trips are run from various schools, and all very smart in their school uniform, and also full of joy. It's a great thing to see, and part of the feature of I think we could have that at Grand Prix, couldn't we? We could have a Thursday when they go out and do, everyone goes out and does free practice, and fill it up with school trips.
Well, what would you rather do if somebody said you can go to the museum and have a look at some old bones, or we can go and watch the Macau Grand Prix? I know which one I'd go for.
I'll do tours. Absolutely. Shame about Ivan Sito. That's a real shame. He was on had 2 races last year for the Roadsports. We had one which was titled the Establishment Cup for Roadsports, and one the Macau Roadsport Challenge, and it was on the podium last year was Ivan Sito, and not taking the start, 3rd in the Establishment Cup last year, but sadly this year, well, doesn't it just describe the highs and lows of motor racing?
It does indeed, and it's very odd that it would have happened on the grid. The car was pushed off the grid, and I was waiting to see if anybody then ran to it to try and help fire it up or push it into the pit lane, but that has not happened, looking out of the side window here. So maybe he's trying to work on it himself out of view and might be allowed to start at the very back, but as time marches on, it's looking a bit bleak for him. So the cars now working their way away from Maternity Bend through towards Solitude S's, through Teddy Yip Corner, then down Faraway Hill. There is Police and Moorish to come before they climb up towards Donna Maria, the Melco hairpin, the landmark corner, really, the very, very tight hairpin, which has this permanent yellow flag to prevent you from overtaking, because it's just impossible to get 2 cars round the corner side by side. Into the corner, yes, round the corner, absolutely no way. And then from first gear and walking pace, the speed builds all the way through Black Sands, and then you come out of Fisherman's Bend and the road opens up, and it feels like a completely different kind of racetrack where it's fast and it's wide. But this bit is all about threading through the eye of a needle, isn't it? And it is possible to overtake in these relatively small cars, but boy, you have to be brave, and you have to be putting a bit of trust in your opponent to give you a hint of room. This, in the background, is the right-hander of Police, and the corner they're coming up to is Moorish.
2 big challenges, that camera angle that you see there. So often you see a car which goes straight on and hits the barrier just on the outside of that corner, and the damage can be significant as well when you come around Moorish up towards the left hand of Donna Maria that we're looking down on now to the 7 metre wide you have at the Melco hairpin. it's very, very tight on the exits, wide on the entry and very tight on the exit. And then the good news is once you've negotiated that, the circuit begins to open up. You accelerate down through Black Sands, down towards a fast corner at Fisherman's, a right-hander, 90-degree right-hander at Fisherman's, and then onto the final right-hand on the gear circuit, which is Isle Bend, and the completion of a lap. But it's opening up now, so you're getting to the fastest part of the circuit, up towards the quite incredible Mandarin. When you look at the circuit map, Mandarin looks like just a kink in the road. It is far from that, and it is incredibly quick.
Yeah.
So as they make their way around the final couple of turns, weaving the cars as much as they can to get heat into the tyres. Those at the front of the grid don't want to be sitting there for too long to allow all that heat to dissipate while we wait for the rest of the field. And it's a big field as well. As we wait for everybody else at the back to line up. Right, pick your favourites then.
I was just thinking before we do that, Roadsport's quite rightly a part of the Grand Prix bill, aren't they? Because the very first Grand Prix in 1954 was for Roadsport cars. They were local drivers in their, in those days, very desirable Roadsports. Eduardo de Carvalho was the winner, but there's something right, and they do heritage very well in Macau for the Grand Prix, so there's something quite fitting that, okay, they've evolved, they're different, but Roadsport's are part of the Grand Prix bill. The grid is going to take a little while, I think, to form up. There is still no hint that Ivan Sito is going to be able to join in. And so Damon Chan on pole position in the red and white livery with Adrian Chung's darker liveried car alongside. And now they sit and they wait.
We're going to be waiting a long time,
and they
aren't
wait. Yes.
Goodness me.
Just adjust from one podcast to the next while they occupy their time. Here comes a car. We're getting there.
Goodness me. We talked about not wanting to sit at the front of the grid for too long and allow the tyres to cool down. Well, this is going to be a bit of a challenge, isn't it? Because still they come around the corner to form up the last couple of rows of the grid for our first car race of 2025. A moment of excitement for everybody in the grandstands as the cameras raise up. Everybody strains to get a better view as close as they possibly can to the railings, the safety railings here down in the grandstands. And I think we've got the final few rows just getting into place. Here we go. As soon as the lights go on, we've got a green flag at the back of the grid, and we're about to get the race underway. 1 light, 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights.
And when 5 lights go out, we are in business with a good start being made by Damon Chan from pole position then as the cars accelerate down towards reservoir for the first time. Everybody cleanly off the grid as they all try to dive 3-4 wide, maybe even going down towards turn 1. And so as the Roadsport Challenge field accelerates out of reservoir for the first time, it is Damon Chan from pole position who leads. He's got Adrian Chung behind him. It is Wang Chuk Pan, number 19, in third place, and a big effort being made by one of the 2 champions this year, 96, Chan Kin Sang, on the inside. And he is up into 4th place. He's under attack, but he's attacking. Look, as they dive now down towards Lisboa. Right, big, deep breath here. We started with 31. How many are going to get round turn 3?
Deep breath and breathe since the lights went out. They
Driver
go
here.
through Lisboa. Everybody using the escape road. Big damage for the number 19 car, which we see bounce back onto the circuit. That was the car that was 3rd on the grid, and that's Wong Chuk Pan's car, and everyone else as well.
Well, that was all a bit needless because you had 3 trying to get into 1, and you can see the mayhem that has broken out because as soon as Wang Chuk Pan's car ended up in the barrier, others piled into the back, so we've lost quite a few in that, which included Carson Tang, and it would not be a surprise if the race had to be stopped to get those out of the way. But in the meantime, Damon Chan is the race leader. We'll piece all that together out of a replay, but it was 3 trying to go into 1, but was never going to work. But up front, it is Damon Chan being given a hard time by Adrian Chung then as they wriggle their way now up through the Solitude S's, and nose to tail they run. You can see the way that they've been able to break away because of all the mayhem that was going on behind them.
They've got absolutely no idea just how chaotic it is back at Lisboa, because they were already part of their own race. The 2 of them, the front row of the grid, Damon Chan and Adrian Chung, properly have pulled away. That gap's going to be, we'll have a look when they get down to the completion of 1 lap, but they are in a class of their own, and that would be brave. Just has a look. You can do it in a Roadsports car, you can do it.
But the safety car has been deployed, so it was an effort, you're quite right, made by Adrian Chung, but he had to back out of it, and safety car deployed. That's now going to bunch up the field. Hopefully it won't take that long to get things out of the way. Let's have another look at how it all started. Good getaway. Yeah, well, good getaway by Adrian Chung. The car snakes as he puts the power down, but he slots back in behind Damon Cham. So it was all good through this part of the circuit. Now keep an eye on 96, because Chan Kin Sang was on his toes straight away. He'd started from 4th on the grid. Now have a look to the inside line going down towards Reservoir. There's 96, Chan Kin Sang. He makes a move to try to get himself up past Wang Chuk Pan. That doesn't work, so he slots back in behind. And then behind Sang, it is 44 of Chan Kar Ping. And those 3 red cars then end up fanning out across the road. Now, Chan Kin Sang again tries to make a move. He ends up going for the middle. There's no gap. He barges his way through. He goes up the escape road. Straight into the tyres goes number 19 of Wang Chuk Pan. And then others just go piling in behind with nowhere to go. Totally unsighted. Yu Yi Ho was one of them. And then arriving out of the escape road is Chan Kar Ping to try to get going. He nearly clobbers Lee Kwok Tsun's car. 79. Also there you can see 96, Chan Kin Sang reversing out of the melee, but a very, very badly damaged car or two, I'm afraid. And yeah, 1 or 2 have a case to answer there. That was a little bit optimistic, to say the least.
Yeah, and huge disappointment as well. You get to the first of the pinch points, which is Lisboa. You'd kind of think, well, you know, let's be a little bit easier on the opening lap and not have cars which are as damaged as clearly they are. Quite a bit of fire extinguishers has been used down there, so it's been quite damaging. That's why I didn't want to watch it again, because there were too many Roadsports cars that are too damaged. They look beautiful 5 minutes before the start of the race when they set off on the warming up lap, and then all of a sudden you get that sort of pinch point down at Lisboa, and a lot of very damaged cars.
And very disappointed drivers all saying, well, what happened? Because really, there was a sudden whack that fired the first car off, and then all of a sudden he got another big hit from behind as others had nowhere to go. And we've been saying all weekend, and it's worth making the point again about Lisboa, because you come barreling down this long chute, barriers either side of you, and it's very, very hard indeed to find the corner. And when eventually you have to turn, you still don't know what's around the other side. You only know what's the other side of the corner once you've turned through it. So spotting the corner is hard enough, but trying to avoid an accident that's around it is well nigh impossible. And that, again, has been the undoing of a few. And
you're not going to win the battle on the opening lap, are you? It's very much a question of get through safely, and then plan 9 laps of a race. You've got plenty of time to do this, and it's I think going to be a question of how many cars are still down there. Just that one car which needs to be lifted, which is the number 19 car of Wang Chuk Pan in his Toyota, which is very, very badly damaged. Makes me sad to see that. It's still smoking a little, isn't it?
Yeah.
From the extinguishment, and clearly bits of fire which have happened down there at Lisboa. But what you also saw when that accident was happening, 3rd, 4th, 5th place, was that the top 2 had already broken away.
Yeah.
By the time they got to the braking area for Lisboa, you could see they were in a class of their own.
We also had into the pit lane number 23, which was Zosi Ray. I don't think he was involved in the accident, but unless he went over some debris and picked up a problem, but he is pitted, and we never had Ivan Sito getting into the race. So the recovery of Wang Chuk Pan's car underway. Now what we also need to try to have a look at is where Chan Kin Sang ended up, because his car, of course, would have been badly delayed, but it is still going. So in 26th place, that puts him effectively last now, Chan Kin Sang. I suspect at the end of this, the race officials would like a word, because he was a bit on the zealous side, but he is still in the race, and we'll see what progress can be made by Chan Kin Sang, who is the Group B champion. The Group A champion, which was number 14, Lo Pak Yu, was also, I think, delayed in that, because he's down in 20th place. So you've got the 2 champions, 20th and 26th.
I think it was Lo Pak Yu that was trying to squeeze his way back. He'd avoided the accident and then was trying to squeeze back in. There wasn't quite space. There was about 1.5 cars width around the stricken cars, but couldn't quite get into the traffic.
tell you who's benefited from all of that is Geronimo Badaraco. So he started 17th, and Badaraco is 6th. So it's been a mega first lap from Geronimo. And the safety car lights are still on. So we're looking for those to be extinguished, which is the clue that we're going to be able to go racing for the second time of asking.
They'll have to do a little bit of sweeping down there at this bowl as well, now that the fire extinguisher covered car has been lifted out of the way, because potentially there could be a little bit of fluid down there as well, which needs to be dealt with. But you know what, it's incredible, year after year the track workers and the marshals and the officials get these very, very sizable accidents cleared up so quickly that sometimes you only need 1 or 2 laps behind the safety car to allow that to happen and get racing back underway. They're superb, absolutely superb.
We are also opposite the marshal's post on the timing line, where at the moment there is no hint of a green flag, so possibly one more lap behind the safety car. And this all eats into the race duration, of course. There are some categories here this weekend where if there's a safety car, there's a 2-lap extension, but not for road sports. So it's a frustration that the cars are being affected like this. The lights are still on atop the safety car, but if they can let them go this time, then they will. It's interesting that they've certainly lagged quite a long way back from the safety car, so it does suggest as though Damon Chan is trying to second guess what's going on and
wishful thinking.
To dive in. Yeah, it is, because the lights are still on.
They want to get that battle back on again, don't they? Because it's super between the top 2 of Damon Chan and Adrian Chung.
Now, it's all very well trying to second guess the safety car, but if you fall back too many cars' lengths while the safety car lights are on, then you find yourself in trouble. It's all very well lagging back when the lights are out and you're controlling the restart, but Damon Chan is not controlling the restart. He is meant to be behind the safety car, and I would say that is more than 4 lengths.
It's a long way back, isn't it? And the safety car is being kind, because it's going quite slowly anyway, isn't it? It's coming across the line in front of us now, in front of our commentary box. It's not going very quickly. That's my kind of pace, that.
Yes, yes. And everybody crawls across the line. So the order is Damon Chan leading Adrian Chung. In 3rd place, it is Lo Chuk In. 4th, Lu Long Yin. And it is Chun Chun Yun in 5th. Geronimo Badaraco 6th. Yong Keng Hei 7th. Lung Se Hua is in 8th place. Bayan Yip is 9th. And Sampak Yin rounds out the top 10. Rui Valence up to 13th. And hopefully we'll be able to go racing at the end of this lap.
I think they all rather feel that we are going to go racing at the end of this lap, and the proof of that is when you get to the wide part of the circuit, they are weaving the cars, making the most of the 14-metre width that we have on the 4 lanes of traffic, if you like, down on the start-finish line and down towards Mandarin. The widest part of the circuit and the safest part to weave the cars to get heat into the tyres.
And that tyre warmth is going to be vital to avoid dramas when we get the race back underway. So we've got 7 laps to run. It'll be hopefully 6 racing laps, because we'd ideally like a green flag at the end of this. They're heading down towards the incident zone. They've all caught up behind the safety car now, largely because the safety car has had to go to a virtual crawl. It's just been overtaken by a snail, so we've got proof that it's going slower to be able to let the field behind catch up. Damon Chan was in no hurry to put himself up behind the BMW again, but he's got there now, and down they come towards the incident zone at Lisboa. The safety car almost needed a magnet to sort of drag Damon Chan closer to the back of it. So let's have a quick look at the corner, and in front of the very full grandstand that towers over the corner, the road should be just about clear as the camera pans round. Yeah, Speedy dries down. I reckon that means we can go racing at the end of this lap, don't you?
I think you're right. I think you're right. It's not pretty down there on the escape road, but certainly with no track officials or marshals dealing with it down there, I think it rather indicates that we are going to be going racing, and the pace will pick up now, so they're on the tightest part of the circuit now, or at least going into it, and that includes going up past the hospital, up San Francisco Hill, up towards Maternity Corner, which is a tight right-hander, on towards Teddy Yip, which is where the left-hander leads into the Solitude S's, and they are just an incredible part. When you walk the circuit, or in your case, David, run the circuit, you realise just what a huge change of direction within a very short period of time is. It's such a challenging part. And can you believe that over the years, touring cars have tried and effectively done overtaking manoeuvres on this tight part of the circuit?
The other part about this, and okay, when you run it, you're not going as quickly as in a car, I'll grant you, but safety car in this lap, incidentally, you kind of lose track of where you are because it snakes from one left into one more right into another left and another right, and you start to think, whereabouts am I? Have I gone through that left-right bit, or is that still to come? And it's only really when you get down towards Police that you get some landmarks again.
Now I know where I am.
Yeah.
But Police, Moorish, Donna Maria, that's where you know who you are. But everything else is, couldn't agree more. It's all a bit vague. Yeah. Imagine what it's like at racing speed.
Exactly right. So that's where the local drivers that come back year after year, or indeed in the case of some of the touring car drivers, people that come back year after year have that advantage. Of course, one of the quirks of the Macau Grand Prix, going off on a tangent, is that the people in the main race don't do it that often.
Yes.
Because in theory, they go through that category on their way up the motor racing ladder. Yeah, I know that some do come back for the lure of Macau, but not everybody does it more than once. They move upwards away from a Formula 3, this time Formula Regional type category. Anyway, safety car is in this time, and Damon Chan, having had a sneak preview, if you like, of how to control the restart by backing off coming out of the Melco hairpin, is in charge again. And look, he has backed off coming out of the Melco hairpin.
It was a dress rehearsal for what was about to come. Now they come down, they thread their way down single file from the Melco hairpin. That's the way they'll do the hairpin throughout this weekend here at Macau. It's the only way you're allowed to do it. No overtaking at Melco. Then you see the green light, and then that's when overtaking is allowed once again, when the circuit opens up. But here we go then. Damon Chan controlling the pace at the front of the field. The safety car will keep to the left of the circuit, go into pit lane. It has done so, and the race is being now controlled by Damon Chan. When the race gets back underway, you can see the intent by Adrian Chung right on the tail of Damon Chan's car as they come up towards the line, and he gets it wrong. The leader gets it wrong, and goodness me, we didn't predict that for a restart, did we?
And there was another car in the barrier behind which has gone through with lots of damage. That was Lu Long Yin, so we've got a new race leader. Quite a few cars embroiled in that, two separate incidents on cold tyres. So Lu Chuk In is now the race leader as the cars accelerate down towards Mandarin. Now Lu Chuk In was 7th on the original grid, and that drama for Damon Chan has cost him a lot of time. It also delayed Adrian Chung. So Lu Chuk In is away on his own, look, as they come down towards Lisboa. Up into second place now has come Geronimo Badaraco, who started in Hong Kong. He was that far back on the grid, but number 28, Geronimo Badaraco, is on a mission as the cars now dive down through Lisboa. Slippery surface flag, but so far so good. We do, though, have a yellow flag at turn 1, where I think we've got more parked cars. But on that restart, a big slide for Damon Chan. That gave him some damage. It delayed Adrian Chung. Others had their own moments, and our new race leader is Lu Chuk In.
My goodness, cold tyres, safety car, 2 laps for cold tyres, and that really did catch them out, didn't it? Geronimo Badaraco up into 3rd place, and I'll just remind you where he started, midfield, started 17th on the grid. That's incredible.
I'm trying to work out why Damon Chan is going so slowly, because he didn't. Again. Oh, okay. He didn't actually hit anything, I don't think, unless he.
I think he just kissed it.
Did he? Yeah. Okay. Certainly, the big damage was sustained by Lu Long Yin, number 6. Anyway, there is another car that has ground into the wall, and number 79 of Lee Kwok Sun is going no further. So, yeah, a second safety car is deployed, and there are quite a few now, rather crumpled Roadsports around the circuit, and Lu Chuk In leads from Geronimo Badaraco, and yeah, as we say, he was 17th on the grid. He's up into 2nd place. This is where experience counts, keeping out of trouble.
Do you remember when we had all the cars down on the grid and I said how beautifully prepared they were, the gorgeous liveries that they've worked so hard to present for their one and only race over the course of this weekend?
Have you thought of a different career?
I'm not in the business of predicting, that's for sure. They did look beautiful at the time.
Yes.
Speak about the moment.
We time travelled.
Geronimo Badaracco, absolutely incredible. And we mentioned him when we were going through the grid as being somebody that was on the podium last year. Qualified in 17th place, qualifying certainly not going his way, but making the most of the small amount of racing that we've had so far, but also keeping out of trouble. And you have to think that that's a fair amount of experience.
Absolutely right, yes. And knowing, when to try and stick your nose up the inside and make a move, or where there might be a pinch point. And I think Lisboa on that opening lap absolutely played into his hands. So you've now got the race-leading yellow car of Luchuk in from Geronimo Badaracco, and then third is Lung Keng Hei, who drives number 72. Now, he started 15th on the grid, so you've got 15th and 17th, having worked their way up into second and third places. In fourth spot now, number 90 of Lung Si Hua, and there you see Damon Chan's car, I think that was, that is stationary, and there the other side of the corner is what's left of Lu Long Yin's car, so there are two to retrieve. But yeah, I didn't, on that last replay, I wasn't totally convinced that Damon Chan had hit the wall, but anyway, he's certainly going no further.
Yeah, it certainly wasn't a clean turn, was it?
No.
It was far from it, but the result of it is that we have a safety car once again. Maybe keeping up with the safety car a little bit more and not dropping back so much would keep a bit more heat into the tyres, and having a slightly quicker pace on the final lap before the safety car pulls into the pit lane, and keeping a little bit closer to the safety car may pay off.
Yeah, the trouble is, the quicker the safety car goes, the less time you're giving marshals to work before the cars get round, and therefore the more laps of safety car it eats into. There's another rather crumpled Roadsport. That is Rui Valent's Subaru. Now, he had been making a bit of progress, but clearly he's been attacked from behind, so Rui Valent limps into the pit lane. It's not been a great weekend for him. So we've got 5 laps notionally to go, and down they come towards Lisboa. Not the incident zone this time.
The front of Geronimo Badaracco's car is very it's covered in chili peppers, basically. It's when you see the distant car on the television pictures, it's red and yellow, but when you get up close, they are all little chili peppers, and it's really quite a unique livery. Not seen anything quite like it before, but that's one of the great things about the presentation of cars for Macau. You see things that you've never seen before as far as the livery is, because they certainly think a long way outside the box, and it really, really works.
That was a replay of Rui Valent being attacked by Lee Kwok Sun. So that explains Valent's rear damage, and it explains why Lee Kwok Sun's car is parked up against the side of the San Francisco Hill part of the circuit, and is needing a retrieval, and it is why we have the safety car on track. Did you ascertain why Geronimo Badaracco has chili peppers all over the car?
He's hot.
Simple as that.
No, I didn't find out.
Oh.
Sorry about that.
It's a good enough answer.
Really cool livery, that. As I walked up to it, down in the paddock on Wednesday, I thought it was covered in strawberries, which would have also been a good livery. Yeah.
You wouldn't have been able to do his hotline, though, would you?
No. No, I wouldn't.
No.
Good point.
Okay.
Thank goodness it's chilies.
Well, there is the aforementioned Geronimo Badaracco, number 28, number 90 going through his Lung Si Hua. Bayern Yip is behind him. Adrian Chung, after being delayed by the sideways Damon Chan, currently in 6th place, hoping that he gets some racing mileage in and then he can try to fight back. But we could be on for a Badaracco win here if he makes a decent restart.
We certainly could. He qualified on pole position last year, did Geronimo Badaracco. Finished in 2nd place, so as a top running racing driver at this huge local event, you just know that would have been a disappointment not to be on the top step of the podium and convert a pole position into a win. So we'll see what Geronimo Badaracco can do. So yeah, 5 laps, including the lap that they are on, yet to go, under the control of the safety car.
Getting a replay again. Now Damon Chan turned through the corner. Maybe he did just graze off it.
He just grazed it at the back.
Certainly it was a big hit from Lulong Yip behind. But then badly delayed in that was Adrian Chung. But Damon Chan's car just never get going again, and there's that move that was never on, I'm afraid, from Lee Kwok, and he was never fully alongside Rio Valent, and that was a big hip and shoulder that's done for both of them, because Rio Valent's car retired into the pit lane, and the car of Lee has stopped going up the hill, and that's why we've got this safety car, and I'm afraid it's going to be another lap, isn't it?
It is, I'm afraid, and disappointment for all of them. Because another lap, mainly concerned with keeping heat into the tyres. We see so often here at Macau just how important that is when the safety car comes in. It's not the first time, it certainly won't be the last time that after a safety car comes in, someone is caught out, and it's not just normally one or two of them. It's a real problem. They've got nature working on their side today, because the sunshine really is beating down on the gear circuit here at Macau. Nothing like 24 hours ago we had little patches of water, didn't we, around the circuit. It feels like a different season totally today, and much more Macau-like weather as we look out over to the water that surrounds the gear circuit here at Macau, and the sunshine glinting off it, the clear skies and the sunshine and very high temperatures, and all the locals that are in the grandstand will make sure that they're underneath an umbrella for most of today, to make sure that they shield themselves against the sunshine, to make sure they have the most enjoyable day, which they do year after year after year. They come back and pack the grandstands, and this is day 3 of the 72nd Macau Grand Prix. Welcome along wherever you are watching in the world. This is the Macau Roadsport Challenge, which has been a challenge so far, but we've potentially got 4 more laps of racing to go as they go down to Lisboa, the right-hander under the control of the safety car. Lisboa was where we had the first call for the safety car. It was a pinch point, it was off the start of the race, and multiple cars were damaged going into the barrier on the outside of Lisboa. They almost come to a stop, don't they, on the run up towards San Francisco Hill? Yeah,
but that's where the recovery operation is going on, and oh dear, it's still being recovered, and then you've got to get that recovery truck off the circuit. So it's going to be 3 laps at best, because this is not going to be a racing lap. So there are 3 more after this, but the safety car certainly I don't think is going to be in this time. So we're looking at maybe 2 racing laps.
I think you're right, and these are important laps. Keeping it neat, keeping it tidy, making sure that you've got heat in the tyres as well to give yourself the best chance for when the safety car does come in to pit lane. But these sort of safety car periods, they are typical of Macau. Everyone knows what the race is going to be like. Potentially there are going to be delays. Occasionally you get a race when everything goes completely cleanly, but 9 times out of 10 I think they know exactly what they've got ahead of them. It's the nature of the circuit, isn't it? You can't leave cars by the side of the track. They need to be recovered, and it being a tight road circuit, recovery isn't the work of a moment.
I seem to remember 2 years ago, was it the last Formula 3 year, that we had slow zones for the Grand Prix, so you could neutralise one section rather than the whole lap, which seemed to work quite well. Whether that's still an appropriate regulation or just not being activated, it's one for the FIA to confirm. But that would not be for these cars anyway, because this runs on a different permit as a local race. But Lu Chuk-in is the race leader from Geronimo Badaraco, and we're looking at perhaps 1 more lap after this under the safety car, and then fingers crossed we can get a couple of racing laps in at the very end, because we've had precious little racing time, really.
Haven't really.
I've not had a full lap.
Not really. No. Let's see if we do. It's a 9-lap race in total, and we might get a couple of racing laps at the end of this. Let's hope so. Let's keep our fingers crossed. But the other thing, of course, is that when you have a very full grid like this, it becomes more likely that you're going to have a problem somewhere down the order, and recovery required. So again, it's pretty much part and parcel of a very full grid, which is great to see, but it does bring with it the various challenges and problems, not just for the drivers but also for race control and the circuit staff as well. BMW safety car threads its way around the Macau hairpin.
Does indeed, crawls down the hill, going slowly enough to try not to lose more laps than is necessary. While that recovery operation goes on, the local race officials that handle the Roadsport Challenge will be looking at all of their pictures in race control and seeing how far away the recovery of the car is. It needs to be, first of all, moved away from the barrier. Quite often that's been one of the reasons for delays this weekend, because cars have come to rest in a position where you can't really move them, so you have to get them jacked up and move them away from the barrier, and then you can do an easier grab and lift the car off the road. But we are certainly going to have one more lap under the safety car, and through they turn. There is the delayed Adrian Chung. He'll be another driver itching to get racing again, because he will desperately want those places back that he lost while Damon Chan ahead of him was having his moment.
Yeah, shame that, because he was doing a really good job, wasn't he? Kept right on the tail of the then race leader when the safety car came into pit lane, and now has got a few places to make up across the line in 6th place. But potentially could do that, couldn't he, in 2 racing laps? Got superb starts. Yeah, and especially if somebody else has a moment ahead of him. We don't want more moments, but it is possible. Right, cars go over the timing line then. And Lo Pat Yu, one of our 2 champions, in 14th place, and Chan Kin Sang further back than that after his travails down at Lisboa earlier on. Down in, what, 24th place, I think, now. So a number of retirements, 1 non-starter, and the field turning now down towards Mandarin. And please make this be the last safety car lap. We'll find out really what the state of play is once they get to San Francisco, because that's where the car was being removed. It's interesting, isn't it? Not the whole field weaving the cars from side to side when they had this great opportunity on the wide part of the circuit, where it's 2 lanes going each way when these are the normal roads of Macau. And somebody that hasn't been weaving the car is Lu Chuk-in, who is the leader behind the safety car. He's just been going in a straight line directly behind the BMW. I don't know what the reason for that may be, but he's one of the fewer cars not really weaving the car. And lots of vigorous weaving going on behind. Well, this is the place to do it, isn't it? When you're in single file and you've got huge, wide tarmac, this is the place to really have a go for it. There at the very back, number 1 of Ao Chi Wang in penultimate place, and the cars now drop down through Lisboa and towards San Francisco, where I can still see a crane. I think the flatbed, oh, it's just reversing off the circuit, isn't it? It's going backwards through its gap, so we should be good to go racing at the end of this. That would be good news, giving us 2 racing laps from a 9-lap race. They are all now experts in how to do safety car laps, because they've had a lot of opportunity to do that during this race. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we can get the safety car in at the end of this lap and get 2 laps of racing, which is going to be something that Adrian Chung is going to be very keen on down there in 6th place. And so too Geronimo Badaraco, who has been weaving the car quite a lot to try and get as much heat into the tyres as possible, knowing that imminently, potentially, we could be going racing at the end of this lap. Could indeed, and so Lu Chuk-in leads, Geronimo Badaraco leads Leung Keng Hei in 3rd place, and the other one's watch number 11 of Adrian Chung, the pace quickening a little bit now as well, Luke, so that suggests that the safety car driver has been told you'll be in this time, so if you go quicker, the cars behind will go quicker. That again is going to help get temperatures into things. Number 17 goes through, Thomas Chak Chung, and he now makes his way up towards Donna Maria. Number 27 there is Lo Pat Soy, and the cars on lap number 6 coming up now through the, sorry, lap number 7 I should say, coming up through Donna Maria. Safety car is indeed in this lap, so it's going to be a 2-lap shootout. After all that, they've been here since the start of the week. They were on track for qualifying and practice on Thursday. They had yesterday off, and they've had a lot of safety car laps, but finally we will go racing. The leader is Lu Chuk-in. Keep everything crossed for 2 more laps. 2 laps of racing, safety car pulls into pit lane, everything being controlled by the number 69, the yellow car. Geronimo Badaracco in second place takes a different position as he goes around the final turn to go across the line. Racing gets back underway, the green flags are waving. Let's hope everybody gets through that final turn nicely, and a good restart for the 69 car. So Luchuk in, but Badaracco is right with him, little bit of a wiggle for the leader there, and as they go down this wide part of the circuit, Geronimo Badaracco is setting himself up, just has a look at the inside on the run towards Mandarin, through Mandarin, and then down towards that right-hander at Lisboa. And Geronimo Badaracco is defending and thinking about an attack.
Yeah, he's a little bit too far back to get a tow, and he's not going to be able to send it up the inside. In the background, look, here comes Adrian Chung. We've got them side by side for 4th place, which is all a bit sketchy going down towards Lisboa, and another one glances off the barrier there. That was by Yip. More mayhem as others plough into the barriers. 39 as effectively that was Lam To, followed in the car of Campbell Fung, which bounced off the barriers. So coming steamed into the back of him, that's going to be yet another safety car intervention, I fear, to get them out of the way. An effort being made by Lunk King Hay to get second place off Geronimo Badaracco, to no avail. The very patriotic car, that, with Macau writ large on the side of it. But I fear the race is going to have to be neutralised yet again, and let's have another look at it. So here they come down towards Lisboa. You've got in the background number 11, that's Adrian Chung then, who comes up to have a go at 22 of Bayern Yip. Yip comes up onto the outside, outbrakes himself, goes wide. He's not quite going to make the corner. He bounces off the tyres. That's one drama, but then arriving absolutely flat out and going straight on was number 13, Campbell Fung, who in turn then gets smashed into the rear by Lam To. Those two were way too quick for the corner. Neither of them was ever going to make it.
No, you're absolutely right. Adrian Chung was very lucky there, and has made a place out. A bit of a wiggle there we saw on the tight and twisty section of the circuit, but is this going to be a requirement for a safety car? We've only got a lap and a half of this race to go, and the safety car is deployed.
Right, well, that's the result, because we're not going to go back racing, are we? They're going to bring the safety car to the end. In fairness, you sort of question why not a checkered flag, because the result's not going to change. All the safety car is going to do is give them one more lap experience and enjoyment of the circuit, but not under racing conditions. So we've not had, I'm afraid, a single full racing lap, have we?
Shame. What an absolute shame. You think about all the preparation and the lead up to this, and the event, everything about it. I think by and large, if you have a car which is still in one piece, then you can see that as a bit of a result.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know really, isn't it, where to sort of feel more frustrated, because race control have to keep throwing the safety car.
They do.
And that's frustrating. But, you know, the other side of the coin is if people stop crashing, they wouldn't need to throw the safety car.
Yeah. Geronimo Badaracco, that restart didn't work quite as he would have liked. I'm pretty sure that certainly the way he was weaving the car to get heat into the tyres, he thought that going down to Lisboa, he was going to be maybe attacking for the lead of the race. However, what actually happened was the fact that he was having to defend from Leung Keng Hay in 3rd place, and that was the story of, what, 3/4 of a lap for the restart, but then the safety car came out.
I'm still trying to get my head around just how quickly those cars of Campbell Fung and others were arriving at Lisboa on that restart lap, because the line suggested they weren't going to make the corner, and the speed suggested they weren't going to make the corner. And the outcome proved it.
Yeah, it did rather. Lisboa is, not a part of the circuit to try too much when you get a race underway, and you can go back to the start of the race, you can go back to both of the restarts from the safety car. It has been a bit of a challenge for the Macau Roadsport Challenge, both times, 3 times in fact, down at Lisboa. Oh dear, what a shame. The BMW safety car once again leads the field around. You're right, that is going to be our race result, isn't it?
Yeah.
As they head down into the right hand of that iconic picture. The huge crane on the inside of the corner has yet to retrieve the number 11 car, which was properly embedded, wasn't it? So the front of the car very damaged, and the rear of the car very damaged as well.
I have seen less damaged cars at Vauxhall Stadium for the Bangor World Final. I mean, that has had a proper pasting,
really
hasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, the initial drama was Campbell Fung's fault because he arrived too quickly, but then to get steamed into by another car, that was a big hit for the driver as much as the car.
Yeah.
So, congratulations to Lu Chuk-in. He survives in order to take the top step of the podium from Geronimo Badaracco and then Lung Keng Hei for third place. But in the 3 sessions they've had, all of which have had interruptions of one sort or another, relatively few full laps at speed have been achieved. It's a real shame. But if cars are going off, what can you do?
So we, as spectators, are a little disappointed that we didn't have more racing. However, what you'll see when they get down into Parc Fermé is 3 drivers that are absolutely delighted. It doesn't matter how the race pans out, and the safety cars coming in this lap, which is good to see.
So they will have a celebratory finish for the photographers, yeah.
They will have the checker flag down on the start-finish line, and then you will see 3 very happy drivers making their way through Parc Fermé, posing for the cameras and doing selfies on the way to the podium, where they make the most of the fact that they are, you have to be there, irrelevant of how many racing laps you've had, you have to be at the front of the grid, you have to qualify well, and then you have to make the most of the situation during the race, and they're going to be delighted. And Lu Chuk-in, Geronimo Badaracco and Lung Keng Hei all going to be very happy when they get down to Parc Fermé to have weathered the storm. I think is the best way of describing our first car race of the day, the Macau Roadsport Challenge. And they thread their way around. As we said, we got the indication down there on the timing screen that the BMW safety car would peel off into pit lane at the end of this lap, so we can have the drivers taking the checker flag for our first car race of the day here for the 72nd Macau Grand Prix. Road sports cars come back and look a little forlorn as they are returned to the paddock on the recovery vehicles, and such a shame when you see cars that are quite as crumpled as they are.
Well, the drivers, as you say, will head to the podium, possibly to be joined by the safety car driver, because he's done about as many laps, it feels, and whether he gets a trophy, I rather doubt. But a big frustration all round. But you're right, the drivers will still have enjoyed themselves, because even the competitive mileage they've had, limited as it was, is such a thrill. And the road sports, I'm afraid, have had a very bruising encounter. So the checkered flag awaits. The safety car will peel in. Of course, you can't overtake until you get to the control line, and that's where the flag is waved. So it's slightly academic to say that we will be back racing this time. It's for one corner up to the checkered flag. That said, of course, as we saw on one of the restarts, it ain't over till it's over. They've all got to safely get round that last corner, and the tyres have gone a bit cool. However, safety car comes in. So in other words, it is possible for the order to change if somebody has a drama. Up they come, checker flag at the ready. Lu Chuk-in, Geronimo Badaracco and Lung Keng Hei, they are the 3 that will accelerate up towards the line, and Badaracco gets ahead before the checkered flag then as they come across the line, and that I think he slows right down, realising his mistake, but he did overtake under a yellow flag.
he did overtake under a yellow flag, yes.
He redressed the balance, but that might get looked at. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So it was Lu Chuk-in ahead when they crossed the line. Geronimo Badaracco accelerated and then realised he shouldn't have done and had to quickly back off again. But Lu Chuk-in is indeed the race leader. And there you think it's the first lap of the race. Look, they're all tightly bunched together once again. A very happy Lung Keng Hei bouncing his hand off the roof to celebrate third place. There he is, having worked his way up the order. He started 15th on the grid, don't forget, and Badaracco 17th. I don't think they expected to be on the podium, but well done from 7th on the grid, Lu Chuk-in, winner of the Macau Roadsport Challenge.
So yeah, that was an interesting finish to the race, wasn't it, after the safety car peeled off into pit lane.
One other thing about that podium, which is worth noting, and it doesn't happen very often, is all Macau drivers in the top 3.
Yes, they are, and as we said, they are drivers from all parts of the region, from Hong Kong, from Macau, from China, and from Chinese Taipei as well.
Sorry, I'm signaling to myself. I know I'm not a race director and I never want to be, but given that that car couldn't have got any more damage, you might have well just left it under a yellow flag. If anybody else went off, it might have improved the value, because it's absolutely annihilated that car. That's not the attitude, I know.
Started a saloon and finished up a very small hatchback, didn't it?
That's right. Yeah. It's a city car now.
It really is, yeah. I'm still slightly perplexed about the restart as well, because I think Geronimo Badaracco thought that he was okay to do that and was charging for the line. Somebody of the experience that he's got, you'd imagine that he would know well that they have to go single file up towards the checker flag, and that's the order as we saw it when the safety car came out. So there we go. That's our first car race of the day, the Macau Roadsport Challenge. Do you think as he headed towards the line, he shouted out Geronimo inside the car? I think it rather looked like he did, because he was on a bit of a charge, didn't he? But that is our race winner, car number 69, and the car that started 7th on the grid.
I think I'm right in saying that Lu Chuk-in has not had a single top 6 finish over the course of the Roadsport season. Badaracco got 4th place, and the 3rd place driver, Lung Keng Hei, was also somebody that didn't really feature. He did get a 3rd in the 2nd round at Guangdong, but that was his only top 6 result. So good to have some different names up near the pointy end.
He wasn't in the Roadsports race last year. He was competing in the Greater Bay Area GT Cup, the GT race that we have here at Macau for the GT4 cars, and finished up 13th place, so a long way away from the podium last year in GT4 machinery, and a step back into the Macau Roadsport Challenge has rather paid off, hasn't it? He'll be on the top step of the podium, but you're quite right, 3 Macau drivers on the top 3 positions, and therefore on the 3 steps of the podium as well, which is really cool to see. And you can be absolutely sure that the local news channels will be very, very happy about that. 3 Macau drivers on the 3 steps of the podium in what is a big week for sport in this area. It's the National Games here, and Macau very proudly has been, in fact, all of the regions of the Greater Bay Area here have all been selected to feature very heavily as part of the National Games here. And it's pretty much like the region's Olympic Games. So it's a big thing, and it's taking place at the moment as well as the Macau Grand Prix. So there are an awful lot of very, very big sporting events taking place in this area over the course of this weekend, including the 72nd Macau Grand Prix.
So it is a slightly frustrating road sport race, but a win for Lu Chuk-in from Geronimo Badaracco and Lung Keng Hei. 4th goes to Lung Se-Hwa. 5th, Adrian Chung, frustrated that he was delayed by a car sideways ahead of him. And then in 6th place, Tsang Pak Yin. You can see the rest of the result, which included 16th in the end, Chan Kin Sang, who was largely responsible for the first dramas we had down at Lisboa, and the other driver, Lo Pak Yu, a champion this year, getting himself up into 9th place in the end. But Macau Maestro's Master Road Sport Wreckage could be your local paper headline, because we have 3 Macau drivers for the podium. They will head to the technical checks post-race, and they will be absolutely elated, no doubt about it. The Roadsport field driving into the paddock at the moment, and they're going past a huge number of very crumpled cars. But that is Lu Chuk-in, race winner, and he's a very happy man indeed.
Certainly is, and so too the team. I did say, irrelevant of how the race pans out, you'll see 3 very, very happy drivers, and that's rather proof of it, isn't it? They've all worked together, and he's going to take his moment on the roof of the car as well. Absolutely delighted about this. Super. I do hope that pops out of the roof, because it can be... Yes, of course it has, and he climbs off the roof. He's only a light, athletic driver, and the dent in the roof pops out very easily. Geronimo Badaracco getting involved in this celebration as well with the tribute centre helmet there. Very smart indeed. And all three of them, all three Macau drivers, all embraced down in Parc Fermé, and a great celebration it is as well. Absolutely delighted they are, and they'll be taken quite quickly by the Macau Grand Prix officials across the paddock, the very busy paddock. It's full of all of the glamour and the colour of the Macau Grand Prix in the sunshine, and it's not an easy job to get from A to B very quickly, particularly when you've just been a race winner at Macau, and therefore there'll be chaperoned as quickly as possible over to the podium area, and we'll have our podium presentation, and then we'll very quickly be getting ready for our next race of the day. The Macau Formula 4 race is coming up next, but for now it's all about the local drivers from Macau and the joy that they experience here on the gear circuit. It's right, isn't it? Lovely to see.
Yeah, you still feel slightly sorry for them that they don't get as many racing laps in as they want, but they seem not to mind, because just being part of the event. I think you're right. Yeah. I think you're right. I think just being involved in the event is good enough for them, and the drivers now being escorted to the podium.
And also, you've got to work to be there, to be in with the chance of being on the podium, and qualifying. You qualify at the front of the grid. Big character, isn't he?
Geronimo Badaracco, yeah. Absolutely.
Big character.
Yeah.
Absolutely loving this. I said the Grand Prix officials are going to be really up against it to get these drivers elated and get through all of the people.
Geronimo Badaracco punching the air with his eye. I mean, irrespective of how many laps he got, he was still able to make his way from 17th on the grid into second place. But I still think that another lap he might have had a go for the win.
He is rightfully delighted. Yeah, 17th on the grid to a podium place, and second on the grid. Super stuff for Geronimo Badaracco. And they'll be making their way now through the corridors leading up towards the podium presentation, which will be coming up in just a couple of moments for the Macau Roadsport Challenge.
And representatives of Win Macau will be there to make the presentations. To third place Long Keng Hei, to Geronimo Badaracco for second place, and Lu Chuk In as the race winner. The road sports, as Alan makes the point, just get the one race. Many of the categories are if not double headers as such. They have a qualifying race and then a longer main race, and that's what's going to happen for the Formula 4 cars that will be next on track. But podium first up for the road sports. And now that the championship has settled into this format of running the two groups and the two cars, the Subaru and the Toyota, it doesn't have that variety on the grid anymore that we used to have with all sorts of cars, but I think it's given us more competitive racing, and the championship itself has really been massively successful. If I'll tell you that one group alone got 34 cars, a maximum of 68 drivers scored points in the championship this year across those two groups. It shows that the category, and indeed motorsport in this region, is in very good health.
Really good health, and you only have to look at the delight on those three drivers' faces to realise that this is an event of happiness. It's a joyous event. It brings an awful lot of happy, smiley faces. Just looking at the school kids in the grandstand yesterday, and the joy that they had just to be here on a qualifying day, not even a race day. But you realise just what this event, the Macau Grand Prix, brings to the region. A huge amount. In front of us, down here in the commentary box, we're getting ready for our next race of the day for the Macau Formula 4 race for the FIA F4 World Cup. So the personnel making their way down to the various grid spots down there on the grid. I think usually at this stage we've had a highlights reel from the race, of the highlights of the race. We haven't had that, and I wonder if they're still working through to find a few racing highlights from that, because unfortunately it was rather crashed cars rather than racing cars, wasn't it? Which is disappointing.
Yeah,
however,
but it is, I'm afraid, one of the perils of the circuit. And the onus is on the driver. Like I say, it's all very well grumbling that race control put out safety cars or red flags, but it's the onus is on the drivers to behave. And certainly that first lap at Lisboa, I think, could have been avoided. And I'm still slightly flabbergasted about the speed at which Campbell Fung arrived at the final attempt to get the race underway. The podium awaits then, and apart from the hands in front of the camera, the Trophy Queens are ready, I can see. The Macau Grand Prix officials are ready in order to call forward
Ladies
the presenters
and gentlemen,
and the drivers.
welcome to the 72nd Macau Grand Prix Trophy presentation ceremony of the Macau Roadsport Challenge. First of all, let's welcome the winning drivers to the podium. On second runner-up, number 72, Lan King He from Macau, China. On first runner-up, let's welcome number 28, Jerome Nibu Antonio Belim Patalaku from Macau, China. Welcome. And of course, let's welcome our winning driver, number 69, Lo Check-in, also from Macau, China. Congratulations to all the drivers. And now I would like to invite the presenter. Let's welcome Ms. Zoe Zhou, Chief Marketing Officer of Resort Marketing of Wynn Macau Limited, to present the second runner-up laurel and trophy, please. And to our second runner-up driver, Lan King He from Macau, China. Congratulations. Thank you, Ms. Zhou. Coming up next, I would like to invite Mr. Craig Fullerloff, Chief Financial Officer and Chief Administrative Officer of Wynn Macau, China, to first of all present the laurel and trophy to our first runner-up. Congratulations. And of course, laurel and trophy to our winning driver, Lo Check-in. Congratulations. And now I would like to invite Ms. Zhou to also to the podium of the stage. Let's take a photo together. Thank you. Please look at the front. Look at the front at the official camera. Smile for the camera. Once again, congratulations. Thank you. Thank you, our guests. Would all the drivers please remain at the current position? Thank you, Ms. Zhou. Thank you, Mr. Fullerloff. Thank you very much. Thank you. And would all the drivers please reach to the top of the podium? Let's take one more photo together. Let's take one more photo to the top of the podium. Perfect. Please look at the camera, please. Let us share your glory moments. Congratulations. All the top 3 drivers from Macau, China. All right. And please remain, because it's time for the champagne. All right, if we are ready, it's time for the champagne shower. Let's toast for your happy moments. Congratulations. Thank you. And once again, congratulations to our winning drivers of the Macau Roadsport Challenge. Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you very much. Let's continue the race. Thank you.